papacy. Baldwin's mother, Agnes of Courtenay, came from one of the leading noble families in the kingdom, and despite being separated from Amalric due to church disapproval of their marriage, she still retained considerable influence in the court. Like many other noble children of the time, Baldwin received an education suitable for a future ruler. He was tutored by none other than William of Tyre, a scholar and later historian who would go on to write a significant chronicle of Baldwin's life and reign. William's relationship with the young Baldwin was marked by mutual respect, and his account provides us with much of the information we have today about Baldwin's early life. But it was William who first noticed something that would change Baldwin's life forever: an absence of pain. While playing with other boys, Baldwin didn't flinch or react when he was scratched or bruised, an early sign of leprosy, a disease that, at the time, was widely misunderstood, feared, and stigmatized. Leprosy, back in the 12th century, was viewed as not only a physical affliction, but also as a spiritual curse. To suffer from leprosy was often seen as divine punishment, and those who contracted the disease were usually isolated, forced into leper colonies to live out their days away from society. The disease caused gradual disfigurement and numbness as it affected the nerves and skin, ultimately leading to debilitation and death. In a world where physical prowess, particularly in a leader, was of paramount importance, Baldwin's condition should have spelled the end of his political ambitions, but remarkably it didn't. By the time Baldwin reached adolescence, his father's reign was coming to an end. Amalric I, a man of significant stature and leadership ability, died in 1174 after an illness, leaving the kingdom of Jerusalem without a clear successor. Baldwin, now just 13 years old at this time and already showing signs of leprosy, was next in line for the throne. There was some hesitation among the nobility about placing a boy afflicted with such a devastating illness on the throne of such a fragile kingdom. But there was no other clear alternative. Thus, Baldwin ascended to the throne, becoming King Baldwin IV of Jerusalem. Because of his youth, Baldwin was not immediately able to assume full control of the kingdom. Instead, a regency was established, with Raymond III of Tripoli, one of the most powerful and respected nobles in the Crusader states, served as regent. Raymond III was a man of considerable experience and skill, having served as the Count of Tripoli and a leader in the defense of the Crusader states against Muslim forces. His regency was marked by an effort to stabilize the kingdom and protect it from the increasing threat posed by Saladin, the Muslim Sultan of Egypt and Syria, whose power and influence were rapidly growing. Despite the precarious situation in which Baldwin found himself, surrounded by political intrigue, internal dissent, and external threats, his determination to lead was evident from the start. Even as a young man, he demonstrated an 1186, Baldwin reached the age of majority, taking full control of the kingdom at the age of 15. His transition from boy king to ruling monarch was smooth, but the challenges he faced were monumental. Baldwin IV's reign was defined by two major forces: his personal struggle with leprosy and the escalating conflict with Saladin. The disease that afflicted him was slowly progressing, affecting his mobility, his appearance, and his overall health. But Baldwin refused to be defined or limited by it. He was acutely aware that as king, he was not only the political leader, but also the military leader of his people. And as such, he led from the front in battles and campaigns. One of the most famous episodes of his reign occurred in 1177, just a year after he'd taken full control of the kingdom. In that year, Saladin launched a large-scale invasion of the kingdom of Jerusalem, intent on capturing the holy city and ending Crusader rule in the region. Saladin was a brilliant and capable leader, known for his tactical genius and ability to unite Muslim forces under his command. His army vastly outnumbered the forces of Baldwin IV, and it seemed that Jerusalem would fall. But Baldwin, despite his illness, mounted a counteroffensive that would become legendary. At the Battle of Moncassard, Baldwin led his army into battle against Saladin's forces, achieving a stunning and unexpected victory. The sight of Baldwin, clad in armor and leading his knights into combat despite his illness, became an iconic image, symbolizing the determination of the Crusader states to survive against all odds. Baldwin's victory at Moncassard was a major triumph, one that temporarily halted Saladin's advance and provided a much-needed boost to the morale of the Crusader states. But it didn't eliminate the threat posed by Saladin. Baldwin knew that his kingdom's long-term survival would depend on more than just military victories. Political alliances, both within the kingdom and with external powers such as the Byzantine Empire and European monarchies, were crucial. Baldwin worked tirelessly to maintain these alliances, understanding that the fractured and divided nature of the Crusader states made them vulnerable. But Baldwin's reign was not without significant internal challenges. The nobility of Jerusalem, like the nobility in many medieval kingdoms, was often divided by competing interests and ambitions. Baldwin's illness added another layer of complexity to the political situation. As his leprosy progressed, it became clear that his ability to rule would be increasingly compromised, and the question of his succession loomed large. Baldwin's sister, Sibylla, was his designated heir, but her marriage to Guy of Lusignan, a man viewed by many of the kingdom's nobles as rash, arrogant, and politically inept, created deep divisions within the court. Baldwin's attempts to manage the succession crisis were a central figure of his later reign. He was deeply concerned about the stability of the kingdom and took steps to remove Guy from power when it became clear that he lacked the support and competence necessary to govern. In 1183, Baldwin appointed his young nephew, Baldwin V, as co-king, hoping to secure a smooth succession and prevent a power struggle after his death. was covered in the sores and disfigurements characteristic of leprosy, and he had to be carried on a litter during his public appearances and military campaigns. Despite this, Baldwin continued to exercise his authority as king, refusing to abdicate or withdraw from public life. He understood the symbolic importance of his kingship, particularly in a time of crisis, and he was determined to lead his people for as long as he was able. Baldwin's final years were marked by his declining health and the growing threat from Saladin. While the victory at Macassar had provided a temporary reprieve, it had not decisively ended the conflict between the Crusader states and the Muslim forces. In 1185, Baldwin succumbed to his illness, dying at the young age of only 24. His death left the kingdom of Jerusalem in a precarious position, and the succession crisis that he'd worked so hard to avoid soon came to pass. Just 2 years after Baldwin's death, in 1187, Saladin achieved a major victory at the Battle of Hattin, where the Crusader forces were decisively